Welcome in. This is the all PHLY Eagles season preview. The 2025 Birds, what do we expect? What's our expectations when it comes to both sides of the football? What are we going to look for, right? What's the theme of this year? What's the story that's going to unfold as the Birds go for the repeat? Defending champs. Joining us, of course, from the all PHLY Eagles beat, our guys, E.J. Smith. Good morning, E.J.
Good morning. That's quite an introduction right there.
Love that. On, man. Are you ready to go? And the legendary Bo Wulf. Hello, Bo.
How we doing?
Good to be here. Are you kidding me?
Let's do it.
This week, we got the opener. It's finally here. All this talk, all right, all off season. We got Eagles Cowboys. The freaking Cowboys come here to open the season. Oh, boys, I cannot wait. I got tingles. I got butterflies. I'm ready to go. All right, so let's get started. And what I want to do first is I want to go unit by unit, all right? And let's kind of analyze where they are. Nobody knows this team like you guys. You have been there every step of the way during training camp, the offseason, all right? You know this team inside and out. So let's dive into it. Let's start on the offensive side of the football. All right, let's go with the offensive line group. I
love that. That's very Philly, cuz. Let's start with the big boys up front.
Well, I do want to start with the big boys up front because that's where it all goes, right? Like, you know, you look at the secret to the Super Bowl, it's the fronts, all right? In both the Super Bowl victories, this team is built inside out. So let's start with the big boys. Now, again, Lane, it all begins and ends with Lane because Lane is the best right tackle in football. Lane is the soul of this line and really the soul of the team.
Yeah, and I think there are Lane is fantastic. We know that we've got 4 of the same starting offensive linemen as last season, and there's the one change at right guard where Mekhi Becton leaves in free agency. Tyler Steen is now entrenched as the right guard. And Becton was very good last year. Better as a run blocker than as a pass blocker. But I think that the summer has gone very well for Tyler Steen. You know, before camp, it was like, okay, is he going to be pushed by Kenyon Green or somebody else? He's kind of lost these summer competitions in the past. He took every single rep at right guard. He looked very good, and you are plugged into that building because I think there are people in that building who think Tyler Steen's going to be better this season than Mekhi Becton was last year.
Yeah, I know that they're very, very excited about what Tyler Steen's going to bring. I heard that he basically won the job last year. Coming out of camp, he won the job. He was the guy. And I think that there was some trepidation. Like, it was a big deal for him.
Yeah.
And I think there was some nerves, a lot of stuff going on. I think that was he really ready for it? And here was Becton, who was this side of beef, right?
Sure.
Like, you know, a guy that that you could kind of bring inside, and your run game was going to be pretty nasty. So I think those kinds of things kind of happened last year that propelled Becton as the starter. But I know that Stoutland is excited about Steen, and I think they're very optimistic.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of the Isaac Seumalo pathway into the Eagles starting offensive line. And, you know, watching him throughout the summer, I had question marks about if he would help them maintain the offensive line being as big of a strength as it has been for them. And I think he has shown that he can maintain that level and that the offensive line is still going to be something they can lean on. And then you look at some of the moves they made right before and then right after setting the initial 53-man roster on Tuesday. You know, they really have shored up the depth. You know, again, it's champagne problems to talk about those guys 6, 7, and 8 on the depth chart, but they really did. Bringing back Fred Johnson really shores up that position. You have your swing tackles. So even if they do have injuries up front, I think they can withstand those a lot better. So yeah, no, I think that I think you put it the right way. Like, this is a team that's built inside out. I think that the offensive line will still be able to set the table for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 guys who are returning, who all went to the Pro Bowl last year, all of those guys have been dealing with their own versions of injury problems, right? Lane has missed time. Jordan Mailata has missed time. Landon Dickerson seems like he's always banged up, and he's going to be coming back playing probably, 85% of himself. Cam Jurgens had the issue last season. And so there's every expectation that the depth is going to have to play at some point. You knock on wood and hope that it doesn't happen a ton or it's for a short period of time. But we talked about it all summer. Like I felt like this was the thing that Howie was probably worried about, in his core. And it was encouraging to see him go make those moves before the season. And now I think they feel very good about the depth.
Let's kind of focus in on that part of the interior with Cam and Landon, right? With Jurgens and Dickerson and what we saw from them last year. It's amazing the Eagles and what they've done at center, right? Like you lose Kelsey and you don't miss a beat, which is just an incredible statement.
Jurgens was awesome last season. And I think there's expectations that he'll be even better than he was last year, just from you've played now, you've seen it. Now, he was fine as the right guard 2 years ago, but, you see him being used the way that Kelsey was used a little bit in his prime. And maybe he's a little bit more involved in the pre-snap diagnosis stuff with Jalen Hurts. The guys on the offensive line, and you know this, EJ, like they love Cam Jurgens, and the way that he was able to seamlessly take over for Jason Kelsey, which was obviously a very difficult thing for him to have to do.
Yeah.
And he did it fantastically.
Well, the amazing thing, EJ, it wasn't a story.
Right.
Like early, it was the story. How would this team react without losing its soul, right? And Jason Kelsey was the soul of that team, not just the line, the team itself. And it ceased to become a story. You covered that team inside and out.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, Tyler Steen and maybe some of the trepidations that he had. Cam Jurgens talked a lot all summer last summer about taking over for Jason Kelsey. And you could tell he was kind of tired of talking about it. He's just like, let's just get this over with. And, I think the other thing that's really impressive about what Cam Jurgens did last season and really what he's allowed the Eagles to do, they didn't throw out a page of the playbook where Jason Kelsey was this weapon that they could get out into space, get into the second level. Cam Jurgens did all that stuff capably. So, it's rare to find centers that athletic. It's rare to find centers that you can run some of those pin pull schemes, some of that stuff that gets those guys on the move. And he really has done that as well, which I think is huge when you think about how versatile the Eagles run game and screen game is with that athletic center.
Because do you feel, given that, we know how good the Eagles offensive line has been, but they have also poured in all of these resources to it. Lane was a first-round pick. Jurgens was a second-round pick. Dickerson was a second-round pick. Steen was a third-round pick. Do you feel that Jeff Stoutland is overrated or underrated?
Oh no, I would never use the word overrated.
I don't think so either.
And stout in the same sentence. No, I think he's an amazing weapon to have. He's an amazing teacher. He understands that position like no other. He's the best O-line coach in the league. All right,
no doubt about it.
So
and arguably, more important to the Eagles than half of the coordinators around the NFL.
What separates a lot of teams, and having talked to a lot of people in the league about this, it's development. Player development is something that we don't talk about a lot as fans because, you're not at practice in the trenches with those guys every day, right? And developing their abilities and their talents. And that's why Stoutland will always be underrated, that you can't speak enough about Jeff Stoutland because of his developmental skills. Like he knows how to develop players.
Well, and some of it is, and we had the chance to talk to his wife this summer for an episode just focused on Jeff Stoutland and all the players that you talked to over the years. Yeah, like he's an amazing technical coach, but what blows them away is just how much he cares. And, Fred Johnson, who's now back, was almost in tears talking about it.
Smile on his face.
Right? Yeah, these guys, they love how much Stoutland cares about them. And if you care about somebody, you want them to get better, right? And he has seen so many guys, and with the Eagles, you get both the development of Jordan Mailata and Fred Johnson being a cast-off and getting the backup guys ready, but also you get Lane Johnson going from, if he was somewhere else, Lane Johnson would be great. But would he be Hall of Fame level? Maybe not. Would Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens be Pro Bowl level, or would they just be good players? Like Stout gets the mediocre guys to good and the great guys to like unbelievable.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Dickerson, real quick, and we'll end with Landon because what do we expect early? You mentioned 85% of kind of
would just guess, yeah.
Right.
He was at practice. He was at the Eagles practice on Wednesday, and he was at practice for that day. imagine he's probably still limited in what he can do. But yeah, I think that with as tough as he is, I feel like he's going to give it every chance to play week 1. I think we'll see in the coming days in the lead up to the game whether or not he'll actually have a chance. But again, my biggest question actually with Landon is like, what percentage is he going to be when he gets back out there, and how much, if any, are there going to be instances where he does need, a series off because he is working through something, and what do the Eagles do in the event that he does need that time? Because again, he's tough, he's going to play through it, but we've seen him the last few seasons have to miss a series or two because he plays through so much.
And who's the answer there? Is it Toth?
Well, it's a good question, because if Dickerson was going to miss a game, it would be Toth. That's what we saw all summer long. Every single rep that he missed was Toth. I don't know if they're going to have Toth active on game day, because Kendall is more likely to be the backup center. And if it's
one series,
because Toth has had some struggle snapping. But I actually think, given the concern about Dickerson, I would guess that it would be Toth, and that he will be active on game day.
Yeah, and then you also have to factor in Matt Pryor.
Yeah.
He's got the versatility to play pretty much every spot except center. And then, I don't think that this is really something on the table, but it's another one to keep in mind is you do wonder if Kendall could slide out over to guard, or if Kendall plays center and you move Juergens over to guard. I think it's probably most likely Pryor in a pinch, and then Toth if you needed him for a game.
All right, let's tackle the run game. All right. And what I don't like is the pundits. Well, there's going to be a regression. The word regression irritates me. All right. And I think because we saw Christian McCaffrey suffer injuries and had the big workload and what happens after the big workload. And I'm not ignoring that fact. But if I was going to say there were more highway miles versus city miles for Saquon, I don't expect, now, again, injury is injury. You can never predict that. But I don't expect any drop-off. I think with that line, right, and with Saquon, elite, regal, like I was laughing, we were talking about today, his over-under is somewhere just south of 1,500 yards. If he's healthy.
1,400, yeah.
Yeah, if he's healthy, I don't see how he doesn't eclipse that.
To me, the regression talk for this Eagles team and for Saquon is, I do expect the numbers to not be quite at 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
And it's not even the injury stuff, which is baked in. And, there is a history of running backs who have that many carries, not playing as many games. To me, it just comes down to the simple thing of the schedule. Like last year, they played this schedule of like the worst defenses in football. Like they played, 8 of the 10 worst run defenses in football, whatever it was. They've got a pretty difficult schedule this year. And so like some of those 60-yard carries against the Rams defense that we saw, or the Cowboys defense, some of those might be 20-yard runs or something like that, And so I don't think he's going to run for 2,000 yards, but I do think that he's still got the superpower of running behind this offensive line. He's in great shape. He gets to play next to Jalen Hurts, who draws attention away from the defense. I have every expectation that this will be one of the best run games in football.
You mentioned superpower, Bo. Like, I feel like this is a guy that is on the right side of the spectrum when you look at some of the running backs that have broken down from heavy workloads and some who have been able to kind of plow through it. I think he is on the right side of that. This is a guy, I remember I went through the Eagles locker room last year and asked a few players, like, how much do you think Saquon spends on his body every year? Who do you think maybe spends more than him? And even Lane Johnson was like, I think he spends more than me. I think he spends about $250,000, maybe more every year on recovery. Nice. And yeah, right.
Great.
So I think this is, and when you watch him in the summer, he didn't look like someone who was dealing with any, residual stuff. And I know Saquon does have an injury history, but it's not necessarily the types of injuries that linger. The ACL, again, in the modern NFL, that is not as big of a residual injury as it used to be. A lot of the things that he's dealt with, he told me last summer that he felt like a lot of the injuries he's dealt with are fluky rather than something that really hampers him.
What kind of things is he spending that money on?
I think you have to ask him for the specifics, but I think massages,
blue light.
Yeah, like some of the stuff is a lot of the home recovery equipment can get expensive, and then diet and stuff like that. So, he does seem like someone who is constantly trying to, change the recovery program. And, be smarter about it, and he definitely hires a lot of people to be a part of that. So I imagine that's where a lot of this goes to. But he was kind of cagey when I asked him about how much he spent. He didn't really want to get too much into it, but he said that some of his teammates might have been on the right track there.
Okay.
All right. I'm curious about how defenses will attack the Eagles. Right now, it's not like it's a secret because people will say, "Well, the Kansas City Chiefs and Spags loaded up the box and they were successful in shutting Saquon down." Was there anything that they unlocked? And my answer is everybody knew where the Eagles offense was after week 4, that it ran through Saquon. So that the scheme part of it, just because you load up the box doesn't mean that you're going to successfully stop the run.
Well, and it also opens you up to those big plays,
Yeah.
right? If you have 8, 9 guys in the box and Saquon breaks through, he's going to the house, right? So it's a gamble, it's a risk to load the box in that sense.
And we saw last year that the Rams tried loading the box against the Eagles front, and it's honestly there's a risk reward even in the explosive run game, because if you have so many guys up at the line of scrimmage, if they don't win up front, it opens up a lot of space in the second and third level. You might have a safety isolated with Saquon Barkley out in space, and we saw how that worked for the Rams. Exactly. So it's really a lot more complicated than just, you load the box and now you've solved Saquon. Like, Spags is a good defensive coordinator. I think he did have a good answer for the Eagles' run game, but I mean, listen, the Eagles' passing game took advantage of the space. So, I think that there is an action to the reaction.
Defense provided the field position.
But I think there's an action to the reaction if teams do find ways to combat the Eagles' run game. But I think that it's hard to scheme up against, like, those guys are just going to beat us up front. And they're going to win their matchups, and we can't do much about it.
EJ, I'll start with you. Volume. How much do you see the volume decreasing with Saquon just to kind of keep him fresh and giving the rest of the backfield carries?
Yeah, I mean, I could see A.J. Dillon taking some of those short yardage plays, the city miles the way you put it. Like, I could see that being the case, but I still think this offense is going to run through Saquon. I don't see a lot of instances where you're going to want him off the field in the big plays, the high leverage plays, third downs even. I think that he's going to have a heavy workload, and I think he's going to have the opportunities to have that volume again this year. Now, again, maybe they do need to change it up a little bit to address how teams are playing them and how, defensive coordinators had the whole offseason to prepare and maybe have a plan that is more favorable to the pass game. But I still think that Saquon Barkley is going to be one of the driving forces for the team.
I hate to keep going back to the schedule, but I think that plays into the volume too. They're going to be playing better teams. They're not going to be ahead quite as much, so they're not going to be able to just lean on the run game quite as much. So just pulling back the volume a little bit in that sense, I feel like, is what will happen.
What do you see from everybody but Saquon? You obviously, EJ talks about the role of Dillon in those short yardage situations.
Yeah, Will Shipley had a great summer.
Yeah,
I think he looked significantly better than he did last summer, and was involved in the passing game. You even saw that clip the Eagles put out of Jalen Hurts sort of coaching him up on exactly where to be on one of those routes. And I think it's always good news when like Jalen's working with one of those guys. But I think Will Shipley, like, if Saquon misses a game or two, Will Shipley will be like a great fantasy back. Like, they will still run the ball, and I think Will Shipley would get the lion's share of those carries over A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's hard to really envision exactly. I guess the Kenny Gainwell role from last year is, I think he's qualified for that.
Yes.
And I think that's a good point. Like, if Saquon misses time, I think Will Shipley, that's when you'll see the good summer he had kind of translate into the regular season.
All right, let's go passing game. All right, and we'll start with Jalen and start with the quarterback. The new OC and Kevin Petullo. Look, I mean, obviously the whole offense was in bubble wrap in the preseason. What have you heard? What have you seen in practice? When it comes to because people are talking about opening up the offense.
To me, the big tweak I expect from Kevin Petullo, and it is funny that, we've got a new offensive coordinator, and it feels like it has been such a minor topic, which is such a rare thing here. The minor tweak I expect is just more shots downfield. Last season was like the lowest percentage of throws that Jalen Hurts has thrown 20 yards or more downfield. And we know that that's like maybe the best throw that he makes.
Yeah.
And if you expect that defenses are going to be keying in on the running game, in theory, you would think that opens things up downfield. A.J. Brown is obviously great at that.
Yeah.
We saw it in the Super Bowl. And so I just sort of expect like a little bit of a dial twist there for the Eagles to throw the ball downfield a little bit more. But I also don't think that like to me, this is Jalen Hurts' offense more than it is Kevin
absolutely.
Patullo's offense.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that the different versions we've seen of the Eagles offense over the years, I think it progressively looks more and more like the concepts that Jalen is comfortable with, the concepts that he thrives in. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think there will be times, I think he's earned like the straitjacket talk. I think he's earned the extra leash. I think he has earned more leeway in taking shots downfield and in being a little bit more aggressive. I think that it'll be interesting to see his internal, I guess the push-pull from him internally on protecting the football, not taking chances, being risk-averse, while also being willing to take those shots downfield. But I think that will be something that Patullo tries to implement more of. That's based off of watching him.
Another small thing I expect to change with Patullo, a little bit better and more passing in the red zone.
Yeah.
I feel like the last couple of years it has been so much like, okay, let's get to the tush push.
Right.
Like, let's just get there and then we can win there. And I think the Eagles have not thrown enough in the red zone. And I think we saw some interesting concepts
they were pretty
down there this summer.
They converted. Yeah. It's hard to argue against what they did last year. And the tush push works. Like,
oh, no doubt.
I mean, and Jalen,
if it's,
as a runner inside the 10-yard line, is so effective.
And we are still going to see all kinds of quarterback draws. Jalen is still going to be a factor in the running game, especially in the red zone. I just think in the cat and mouse of how are they going to play us?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity for the Eagles to catch some teams by surprise.
So let's think about this for a second when it comes to opening up the offense, right? Because I'm fascinated by this. There are strengths that Jalen has, and his biggest strength is outside the numbers, right? Yeah. That throw down the field, he makes that, he drops in the bucket all the time. I think as a deep ball thrower, he's terrific. I think, so the recipe of run and go long,
like layups and threes,
it works.
Yeah.
It works. It's the intermediate part of middle of the field, right? Inside the hash. Like it's those where which makes sense because, he's got to find throwing lanes. Right. He's got to trust what he sees. Like if there's one aspect that he probably has to work on, I'm sure you guys heard this all the time, is about, patting the ball, right? Like he's got to get rid of it and you got to trust it.
That to me is where the Eagles offensive coordinator really earns their money, because a lot of this is the Jalen offense concepts that you are basically bringing over from previous regimes. If you can find ways to get Jalen to hit A.J. Brown on that backside dig, to be able to find guys over the middle of the field in general, that is where you need to be able to scheme it open, and he has to be confident in it. I think we've seen iterations of the Eagles offense where he has been a little bit more confident with that, and then we've seen iterations of the Eagles offense where he is not going in that area of the field. I think that is one of the swing factors when you look at what the Eagles offense can be and what maybe it has been over the last few years.
And then I kind of want to just clear out for EJ here because like last year was the year of Saquon Barkley. EJ has every expectation. He's calling that this is going to be the year of AJ Brown.
I think this is AJ Brown's season. I feel like.
Well, it's funny you said that.
Yeah.
Because we had this conversation, with Pat McClune on the.
It's my guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's the greatest. And we were talking about, he had a question. He goes, who has more receptions, AJ or DeVonta? And he said DeVonta. And I said, I think it's AJ. And I said, if I'm Kevin Patullo and I have a pizza, right?
Yeah.
AJ gets 5 slices.
Yes.
Right? Because I love this year of AJ.
Yeah.
He's so good. I don't even think we realize how good AJ Brown is.
I say it all the time. He's the best player on the team. They've got Saquon Barkley, they've got Lane Johnson, they've got Jalen Carter, they've got Zack Baun, they've got Quinton Mitchell, they've got Jordan Mailata, they got Jalen Hurts. They have the team of superstars. AJ Brown is the best player on the team.
Yes.
Yeah. We've talked about how the run game can be scheme agnostic. I know you like when I use scheme agnostic, so I got to throw it out again.
I love that.
AJ Brown is a walking mismatch. It does not, and he is less complicated than the run game. There are moving parts in the run game. Obviously, you need pass protection to get him the ball, but even then, like he can get open quick. He can win fast. He can win downfield. And really, it is just a matter of opportunity for him. He is not, obviously, he's had the heavy target seasons. He only had 97 targets last year, though. And we talk about the action and the reaction against the run game. If teams do start to change the way that they approach the Eagles offense with Saquon Barkley coming off of this historic season, A.J. Brown just needs the opportunity. If he gets the opportunity, I think he is good enough to be the best receiver.
I love the year of A.J. Brown. I absolutely love. It bothers me that there was a lot of noise that surrounds him, invoking T.O. and the receiver thing, and it couldn't be further from the truth. A.J. Brown is one of the greatest guys. Like, he's legit. He's a great team guy. He is. I can't back him enough as a football player, but also as a teammate.
Yeah, he is much more introspective than I think people realize.
Yeah.
He is someone who definitely has an inner turmoil that is the two polar opposite driving forces. Is he wants to affect the game. He wants to be the one that drives them to wins, but he also wants the team to succeed, even if he's not the driving force. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a player take such a weighty pause in a press conference than when he was asked what his goals are for the season, what drives him into this next chapter of his career post Super Bowl. And it was like a 15-second pause. It was like he was really trying to pick his words carefully. And he said he wants to be the best receiver in football. He wants to put a stamp on that, but he realizes that may not always be in the best interest of the team. I think there's a chance that it will be in the best interest of the team this year for him to be the guy who sets the table. I don't know if it'll be from week 1 onward, but I think there's going to come a time and a stretch in this season where they're going to need AJ to be the one, and I think he is capable of doing it.
The little stat to go to that I always used last year is that, Saquon Barkley is having the best season a running back has ever had. It's, 5 point whatever yards per carry. He's awesome. He's running the offense. Every time they throw the ball to A.J. Brown, so yards per target, it's like 7 or 8 yards per play. So like Saquon's awesome, but if you throw me the ball, we're going to get more yards.
Right.
And so like it's really hard. And like that inner conflict of being a number 1 wide receiver is really difficult. You in a great game, you're getting thrown the ball 10 times, right? But he really does care about the team winning, and that's got to be very difficult. And I'm not, even the stuff with Jalen Hurts, like I'm not telling you they're best friends. They don't have to be best friends.
No, that's the
Just
most overrated stuff in the world about whether they like each other, best friends, or warring. Stop. Like it doesn't matter.
Those guys want to win,
right?
Yeah, that's all. That's
the bottom line. It's like any other workplace.
I don't like EJ, but we have to work well together to make a good show.
All right, let's go to DeVonta because Slim Reaper, he's not your normal WR2. I mean, this is a extremely talented receiver who is an elegant runner, like just route runner. He's got sticky hands. Going back to Alabama when he dominated. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah.
How does that work itself? And we're like all about AJ, but there's DeVonta, and he needs to eat too.
Yeah.
How many slices?
Yeah. How many slices?
I mean, I'll go 5 and 3 and get the crust to the rest of the guys.
That's fair.
Probably fair.
He is a receiver's receiver. You see the clips of Chad Johnson like crying watching DeVonta Smith run routes, and he is that player. I think it helps that he has always played with another big dog in a wide receiving core. He's never been someone who is expected, to have the 5 slices of pizza. But, you do wonder about those guys. If this is an offense that is run through Saquon and AJ, does that mean for DeVonta?
Right, because AJ is going to get his.
Right, yeah.
I don't know that DeVonta is always going to get his.
Yeah, I think the fact that he is so versatile, he can be in and out of the slot. He can still have a big game or two. He can have his games where he is the one that they lean on because of the fact that he can be like a chess piece. But I don't know. If I think it's the year of AJ Brown, I can't then say I also think DeVonta Smith is going to pop off this year. So I think it's more of a long-term question, but I do think he'll have his moments this season.
He is, though. I mean, just why he is an artist. It is so great.
Yeah,
the thing that I love about he is so aware of the space around him more than receivers you see. Like, whether that's in zone or just like where he is on the field, like, and his ability to contort his body the way he needs to. It's so fun to watch.
I love the way you put that. Really do. All right. the crusts of the pizza.
Crust.
All right, will be spread around. Now, obviously, Dallas Goedert coming back. What I love about Goddard being back is, yeah, he's great in the tight end screen and getting the ball, but man, he seals the edge.
Yep.
And we don't value that enough. He's really good. You saw when he was hurt, Calcaterra can't do that. And there's a huge drop. When he's in the game, we talk about having a big year from Barkley. Part of it's because Dallas Goedert's blocking.
Yeah, I think he is as good of an all-around tight end as there is in the NFL. And the only problem is that he has a real trouble staying healthy and staying on the field. He misses time every year. I think it'd be great if this year he stays on the field the whole time. And I think he was a little bit introspective about, like, maybe this is going to be my last year in Philly here. I think he wants to have his own legacy here because, you think about, like, just like we talked about with Cam Jurgens, Goddard had to sit behind Zach Ertz and then he becomes the guy, but he's never really had like that season. I don't expect that this is going to be like the volume season for him just because of the things we've talked about with Saquon and AJ and DeVonta need the ball too. But in terms of like, the screw that you could unscrew that's going to bring the whole thing toppling down, like Dallas Goedert is very important to the way that the structure of this offense is needed to succeed.
Yeah, he is like an offensive coordinator's best friend. Being able to run out of 11 because he's out there and being able to throw out of 12 because of what he can do in the passing game.
What you want to do?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely a difference maker from a schematic standpoint. But yeah, you're right. Like, he watched Zach Ertz leave this team at 31 years old. Dallas Goedert will be 30 this season. So, I think that he realizes that this is probably the time where they're going to want to pass the torch. We don't really know to who yet, but I think that this might be a nice, seamless transition for them.
All right. Last thing, let's go over Dotson, Cooper, Mechie, and how they fit into this whole thing.
I'm going to tell you, cuz I've been saying,
Dotson, you're high on Dotson.
No,
I'm not high on.
Oh, okay.
We're like the official podcast.
No.
Yeah, we're the official podcast.
Cooper, you and I.
Cooper. Yeah.
You and I.
We got our Tarleton State purple and white here.
From the Xfinity Studios.
That's right.
Tarleton State colors.
Jahan Dotson had a good summer. And I think he was the beneficiary of AJ and DeVonta both missing time. He got some good reps with DeVonta. He is a good third receiver. Like, the numbers on Jahan Dotson throughout his career are pretty underwhelming. I'm telling you, I'm just trusting my eyes.
You think Cooper out the slot?
I think by the end of the season, Darius Cooper might be the number 3 receiver
because he can work out of the slot,
and but he can also win on the outside.
Yeah.
And then you get DeVonta in the slot where he's amazing. I think Darius Cooper is really good. I mean, I don't want. Listen, the Eagles season in this Eagles preview is not going to hinge on Darius Cooper.
Right.
I got to trust my eyes. I think he might.
We're
be better.
deep into the roster.
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you, EJ, how does Mechie kind of fit into the thing?
It's funny you say that. And listen, you have maybe more Darius Cooper stock just because you've been more aggressive in your praise, but I feel like, so Mechie, I view as the dirty work guy, right? I think that he can do some of that, some of the blocking on the perimeter, do some of the jobs that facilitate for others. I think Darius Cooper can do that stuff too. I mean, the kid's built like a running back. Like, he's like very much like 20 years ago, he would have been a running back. He's probably one of those guys that let's put him at receiver and throw him a bunch of screens in college and, get him out in space. So I don't know. I think Mechie, I think he can have a role as that guy, especially early in the season. But if you told me Darius Cooper was out there as like the one springing DeVonta Smith on a bubble screen, like, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He's big enough to do it. He's strong enough to do it.
All right, let's go move to the other side of the ball. Defense. I love this defense. There's so many the big pieces to watch, right? From the interior. They're so good up the middle.
Yeah.
Which is so impressive. All right. Let's start up front and start with the beast. And that's exactly what he is. The whole thing goes and works because of Jalen Carter.
Yeah, he didn't have like the most disruptive summer. I am curious if it was more of a courtesy to everybody that he wasn't wrecking practice every single day, but we've seen what the guy
I heard
can do.
He could.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He can definitely, he could ruin a practice. He could ruin a training camp.
Yeah.
No, I think that this is going to be a big year for him. He was, I mean, watching the games, you saw how disruptive he was. It didn't translate necessarily into numbers. Sometimes it's hard for defensive tackles to rack up those numbers, but the pressure that he puts, the pass rush ability that he has is another thing that is, it is hard to scheme against a guy that's going to be in your quarterback's lap the entire game. So, I think that I'm bullish on him for another big season. I think that the numbers might come this year reflective of how disruptive he has been in the last year or two.
Yeah, and then what I like is the kind of Ojimo coming and really flashing, man, because again, the importance of the interior line is everything. We always talk about edge and edge and edge and edge and guys flying off the edge. What quarterbacks hate is up the gut pressure, right? And you're taught to block down, right? As if you have some real studs up front, that'll free those guys off the edge.
Those guys are going to get one-on-ones because of the attention that Jalen Carter gets. And that's
and then Ojimo,
Listen, I do this thing every summer where I just poll the locker room based on the summer so far, who's going to have a big season. And the overwhelming plurality of those guys, over 30% of them, said Ojimo based on the summer he had. And it's like, not only has he looked awesome on the field, but nobody cares more and works more like in the building about getting better than he does. He's getting called out in every meeting. And so like we can talk about Jordan Davis and how many more snaps is he going to be able to play, and is he going to actually add some pass rush to his game? In terms of replacing Milton Williams and who's that second defensive tackle on third down, it's going to be Moro Ojimo. And there are, EJ thinks that he's going to be even better than Milton Williams. I think that's a little bit of a high bar,
dude.
But I think Ojimo's going to be really good.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I know that we focus a lot on Jordan Davis because of the draft, right? But honestly, I mean, I'm excited about Ojimo, and I think Jordan Davis will be fine. He'll get penetration up front in the rundowns, and he'll make his plays. But I agree. Third down, you're going to see Ojimo and Carter and wreak havoc.
He's got this mixture of explosiveness off the ball, but also like technical ability in his pass rushing moves. We've seen him with some creative rushes, hand fighting, being able to get by guys different ways, win with quickness, win with power, win with technique. So no, I think that he could have a bigger season. I mean, Milton Williams had 5 sacks last season, obviously had a really good playoffs, but I think that he is overqualified to fill that role. And we've seen this with the Eagles defensive tackle rotations in years past. Like, the superstar is usually only as good as the guy next to him. You need to have someone to keep interior offensive lines honest. You can't constantly shade to the superstar. It used to be Fletcher Cox, now it's Jalen Carter. I think that Moro Ojimo is going to be able to keep those guys honest because of how good he's going to be.
All right. Off the edge. All right. Nolan Smith, as long as he's healthy, to me, he's a given. I'm a believer in Nolan Smith. I love the violence in which he plays. And the only thing is, can he stay healthy?
Right.
Yes.
We like Jalix Hunt, what we saw. I think he flashed in a big way. He's well ahead of what we thought he would be. Are they enough to start?
I think to start. And I think the framing here is the way that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie have talked about it, where the early part of the season is kind of, let's figure out what we've got. Let's figure out what we need to do. Because I think if you look at edge rotations from the Eagles in the past, this is probably shallower than most years. No doubt about it, right? You would like for Jalix Hunt to be your number 3. And they don't have somebody right there right now. Josh Uche can give you a little bit of pass rush juice. Azeez Ojulari had a pretty quiet summer, but he can be on the field on early downs. They kept Agbo Okoronkwo to be on the field potentially, but we know that Vic's not going to rotate these guys a ton. So as long as Nolan and Jalix are healthy, they'll be on the field. But I do think that if it's October and we're doing an emergency podcast, Howie Roseman traded a 3rd-round pick for somebody, my guess is it's an edge rusher.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I think, in a lot of ways, it makes sense that, if you narrow it down to one position that I need, and nowadays it's different. Like, you can trade for that guy.
Yeah.
You can do it. So I'm with you on that. Second level is going to be fun because we didn't even get a chance to see Zack Baun, and Zack Baun's going to be ridiculous. I love Jihad. I think Jihad all over the field. I think Vic's going to have a blast with him, blitzing him from the second level.
Yeah.
Because he just shoots, right? He just comes right at you. So I'm curious about how good those linebackers are going to be. Terrific. Trot Jr. had a really good camp.
He did.
And it's a shame because he was overshadowed in a lot of ways by Jihad.
I think that the versatility that the linebacking core has, the fact that now you can mirror Jahad Campbell and Zack Baun, they can do a lot of the same roles while also having that versatility to do different things. I also feel like I wonder if there's a world where we see some exotic fronts where instead of putting the onus on your edge guys, you can play Jahad Campbell somewhere up front and have at the beginning of the season a Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as that other linebacker on the field with a three linebacker look on passing downs, or toward the end of the season once Nakobe Dean is back, if you could see those three guys as the three linebackers to kind of compensate for the fact that they're thin on the edge. I feel like Jahad Campbell being that chess piece is going to give them some versatility and some options there.
Let's talk about Dean for a second, because that was good news that he can be back that quickly.
Well, I got to believe it when I see it.
Right.
He says, I'll see you week 5. That would be way ahead of schedule for that injury. So
right. That's what I was like.
Let's see. Yeah.
His rehab work before practice, it doesn't look like, definitely doesn't look like he's had any setbacks. They've been he's been pretty active. But yeah, I'm with Bo. I think we're going to have to just see where this thing is at in a month or two from now.
Okay. Secondary. All right. Let's go with the stuff that we love. The two talk about chess pieces. They're fantastic. Let's start with Cooper. Middle of the field. He's going to start safety and base.
We'll see.
You think?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so as well. But we did see him at outside corner toward the end of training camp. I think that was more a reflection of where things stood with that competition, and especially if Drew Makuba's hurt for the first few weeks of the season. I think that Cooper DeJean, I think he would be a great safety in this system. I think that he offers the versatility, the nature of break the huddle every time, figure out where Cooper DeJean's lined up. I think that he can offer a lot of that at safety. But I also think on the high leverage downs, you probably want him manned up with somebody at nickel corner. So, I think that the versatility is a real asset for them, especially with some of the question marks they have in the secondary. But at the same time,
that's not uncommon. I mean, like Malcolm Jenkins,
sure, absolutely
would do a lot of that.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're still using him at the positions that he is best suited for. You don't want to weaken him as a player just to compensate for it.
No, you need him in the middle of the field.
Yeah,
he just blows plays. Like his closing speed on the ball, like we saw it time and time again.
Yeah. Yeah, and that physicality out of the nickel spot is a huge thing for this defense. It's a reason why they don't play much base, is because they want to keep Cooper DeJean on the field. So, yeah, I think he's best suited as a nickel or a safety. The outside corner experiment, again, like that position is a concern, but I don't think it's the best use of a skill set.
I agree.
And then with Quinton, if you're just tuning in now, he spent all of last season just at right cornerback. This summer and in the spring, he spent a lot of time on the left side, switching back and forth. So there will be times this season where Quinton's going to follow the number one receiver on the other team, probably depending on like who their number 2 is. Right? I don't think we'll see it week 1 against Dallas because you've got Pickens too to worry about. But listen, Quinton could be like an all-pro level player this season. The problem is the opposing offenses are just going to pepper whoever that other corner is. That guy is going to get targeted all the time, and so it's going to be sink or swim for Adoree Jackson probably at the start, and then maybe Jacorian Bennett, and then maybe Keely Ringo down the line, maybe Mac McWilliams. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be like a season of trying to figure out who that guy is.
Yeah, and the two issues are, again, the other safety spot, right? Because you're good with Reed, you know what you're going to get from Reed. It's really it's that other safety spot, and it's cute. It's CB2.
Yeah, it's a real shame that Drew Makuba got hurt twice during training camp, because it felt like that second preseason game, he was really starting to make progress. It felt like he was going to run away with that job, started working in with the starters more, gets a hamstring injury that he tried to practice through. I think the fact that he tried to practice through it really speaks to like he knew it was like the worst possible time for him to get injured. So I think he could be a Cooper DeJean type player this year, where he comes in the middle of the season and earns a starting role. Maybe not the impact that Cooper had. That's a big ask, but I do think if he starts the season injured, it might be a mid-season thing where he comes into the starting lineup.
Yeah. Special teams.
All
right.
Bounce back season for Jake Elliott.
Yeah. Okay.
Looks healthy.
Calling it.
Looks very healthy.
Good. Yeah, not going to lie. It was worse than last year.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a good year.
Okay. I trust you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's nobody to snap him the ball.
Nice. What happened?
Well, he's back. He's
back. Yeah, no, I think your read on it yesterday is correct, that they tried to do the roster chicanery with Charlie Hewlett, save a spot on the 53, maybe try and sneak him back on the practice squad, and then that did not
Another
come to
team
bear.
came
Yeah,
calling.
probably another
Yeah.
team
And
was
so, like,
interested
okay,
and
we
they
got
had a
Wolverine.
roster.
Yeah. How about the return game?
It's a big question. I honestly like. I mean, we saw Jahan Dotson do it some, but
Yeah.
the fact that there's no Anaya Smith and I thought Britton Covey would have made some sense, but I don't really know.
Honestly, to me, it's as a punt returner, go back there and catch the ball. Just give us the ball.
Yeah,
back.
I think we're
Don't
back
make
to
a
the
mistake.
Greg Ward days.
And then
yeah.
and then in
Greg Ward,
in high leverage situations, let Cooper DeJean do it. That's
Agreed.
totally fine.
Yeah, and with this offense, you don't want somebody back there. You don't want to take on any additional risk by having someone there that gives you potential upside. You want the least variance from that punt returner as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Who'll handle the kickoffs?
Probably Shipley to start.
Yeah, I think they like running backs in those spots.
Darius Cooper was back there as well.
Yeah.
At the end of the preseason, so
he'd
one
be a
of
good
those two
hybrid
guys,
for
I
that
think.
too.
Yeah. All right. Roster check.
Done.
I mean, it's a pretty elite roster that
Yeah.
we're talking about, like two or three spots that you kind of hold your
I know.
breath at, but man, it's
I don't feel
elite.
great about the 22nd
Yeah,
starter.
I mean, it's pretty elite, right? Let's do this. Let's go through the schedule. All right. And let's kind of,
Difficult.
I don't necessarily need you to go W's and L's. You could if you want, but I kind of want to look at it in situational, all right? And like what we expect from these teams.
Okay.
So we open up, right, this week against the Cowboys. And it's a Cowboys team that has all kinds of issues. And Dak's back first time, we'll see, real game. But it looks like no Micah unless there's an 11th hour agreement. How are you feeling?
Week one games always worry me because there's so much unknown. What have they been cooking up? But just line up and play that team. I think the Eagles got to feel pretty good. Like they can't stop the Eagles run game, right?
Yeah, I completely
so.
agree.
Yeah.
I just feel like the talent advantage is going to overshadow the potential for the week one weirdness. And the Eagles have talked about before how these opening 3 or 4 games can feel like preseason games for them. But I don't know. They're going to be up for this one. There's going to be a lot of energy. I think they've got the talent advantage to win it.
All right. Well, I'm going to do the W's. We all three say W. This will be interesting.
Yeah.
Because week 2 is the Super Bowl rematch. Andy's going to be all circled that one.
Sure.
Their O-line has been presumably fixed, but Rashee Rice won't be there.
Yep.
He did try to address some more receiver helps for Mahomes. How do you kind of see this one? EJ, I'll start with you.
I had this down as a loss when the schedule came out. I mean, I feel like all the stuff we just talked about ignoring for the Cowboys, that stuff does feel more apparent in week 2. The preseason game vibes that you get early in the season. It's a tough game.
Yeah, you think back to 2023, right? When the Eagles had the rematch from the Super Bowl, and they're the ones who have like so much motivation to go win that game. And Nick comes out of the tunnel and he's yelling at reporters and like, hey, we won that game. So like I think the Chiefs are going to be motivated. I'm willing to give that one to the Chiefs, but listen, I mean the Eagles put beat to edge in that game.
Be honest with you, I actually think the Eagles match up.
Sure.
Oh, for sure.
I think
I mean they
just
they
saw it, yeah.
killed them in the Super Bowl.
Well, and I think that they're a problem.
Yeah.
And I covered Andy for a long time, and Andy's teams are usually slower out of the gate.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm going to say W.
Go ahead.
What are you're going to say?
I'll give me a loss for this one.
Yeah, I'm going L. Yeah.
No. All right. Home against the Rams. Rams, Stafford, should play with the back. I love their front seven is really, really good. We saw how close
Jared Verse gave them a real,
we saw how close that playoff game was in the snow.
Yeah, but they're also, I mean, Saquon Barkley ran for like 500 yards the 2 games combined against them. I'm giving this one to the Eagles.
I am too. This is another one where the Rams are going to be up for this game, but I'm giving it to the Eagles. I feel like they've got the talent. You're going to get sick of me hearing it, but they've got the talent advantage. I think they're going to win.
I agree. So
Yeah.
WWW.
Okay.
Now week 4.
The Eagles, they're just
Tampa.
put the loss down now. They've got no chance in this game. They should rest the starter.
Well, it's funny because I have the L. I'm going to put it as an L. There's something about bowls,
Yeah.
right? And I think they're good. Down there, it's hot.
And no
Like-
Wharfs yet, probably. Right?
Right.
okay.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
he's supposed to be back. But
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm a big believer in their receivers, and I'm a Bucky Irving guy.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I look at it; it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
You can see like it was last year. It was blazing last year.
They always end up down there in September.
It's always that
In
fourth
retrospect,
week.
in retrospect, I wish I had given the Eagles a win in Kansas City so I could have them going just 16-1, but the loss being at Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Well, I may do that. So what do you got?
I'm going W here. I feel like this is the year they get the monkey off their back.
Okay.
Loss.
All right.
No chance.
No chance. All right. Then you come back and you're at home against Denver.
Oh, you're Broncos. You love the Broncos.
No, it's the Chargers. I do like Peyton. As much as I don't like Peyton as a guy, I think he's a brilliant coach.
Yeah.
And I think the quarterback is legit.
I'm skeptical on the quarterback.
I think he's pretty good. I think that Peyton knows how to use him.
I'm going to give you the word you hate. Regression.
Okay.
Bo Nix. Yeah.
Listen, I'm fine. Like, not hurt my feelings. So I don't think they lose the game.
No.
Yeah, I got this as a win.
All right. So we got now what I think the schedule maker did a horrible job.
I hate this.
I hate this with a passion. At Giants for the first time in 3 weeks. If I were the Giants, I would start Jackson Dart. And I would just play the kid and roll through it.
Yeah.
I think Russ is cooked. Jameis can't complete anything to his own guys. I would start Dart. I saw some stuff out of Dart that I thought was pretty good. Either way, as good as they are, I think their front is good, right?
Yeah.
Like they have a really good front.
Yeah.
Neighbors is the truth.
Yeah.
Now that's one where, given the rest of the Giants wide receivers, that's one where
Q travels
with
Q
neighbors.
travels with neighbors, right? Like
I
a
think
good
so.
Neighbors, Q is there.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Quinton is there.
Yes. Yeah, even better.
Like a good neighbor.
Quinton is there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Love that.
Win.
Yeah, agreed. This will be interesting because I don't know how to feel about the Vikings.
Yeah.
Because of J.J. McCarthy. They are really good almost everywhere else, right? They have elite receivers, Aaron Jones at running back, a great tight end, a good offensive line. I'm a Flores guy. I think he's a really good
Me too.
defensive coordinator. So I just don't know what J.J. is.
And nobody does, right?
Yeah. It's a big wild card.
This is one of those games where like you could see it. This is just one where the Eagles get pipped, like a little bit of bad.
Totally
luck,
see that.
You know, I'll give them a loss for this one.
You know, the Vikings were 8-1 in one-score games last year. I'm a little bit skeptical.
Someone's been doing their homework.
I feel like I'm going win. You know, I gave him the loss against the Chiefs, and now I'm bullish on the rest of the start of the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go win too because I just can't see J.J. McCarthy beating Fangio.
Yeah.
And now you're in the part of the season where Vic knows his defense.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to go win.
Okay.
Maybe this is where we see Drew Makuba enter the starting lineup.
Yeah. And then you got the Giants again at home. I mean,
So annoying. Win.
yeah, right? EJ?
Yes, win for sure.
All right, so we have reached the bye. And EJ and I have the same record. In fact, we have 7-1. Bo, you got 6-2.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Which
fine.
is probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's
No, I'm not saying.
Wait, actually, I think I have them as 5-3, right? Do I have
Oh,
lost?
I'm sorry.
Tampa,
You do have them 5-3.
Kansas City, and
Yes. My bad.
Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, you have them at 5-3.
Somebody's got to be objective up here.
Correct. You are the most objective at 5-3 entering the bye. I don't know why I thought you were 6-2, but you're 5-3. EJ and I have them both at 7-1. All right. Now, after the bye, at Green Bay, I think I'm going to jump into the L category here.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough game.
Because I think Green Bay is going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
Because presumably the quarterback's healthy. I like Love.
So do I.
I also love Matthew Golden, who's the
interesting.
receiver from
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
And I heard a report from Green Bay camp that he was catching everything.
They need that guy too. If they get that
Makes
guy,
everyone
all
else
of a
better.
sudden, yeah, exactly.
Makes Jacobs better.
Yep.
Right. They have a good tight end.
Yeah, and all of a sudden Watson, what he offers you
Right.
is that volatility might be a good thing some weeks.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you needed that steady.
I think they have a chance to be good.
Yeah, same. Yeah. No, I've got this as an L for the Eagles.
Yeah. Well,
I'm giving them a win coming off the bye.
You're
like
just trying to balance it out now.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up.
Yeah, they did some self scouting over the bye.
All right. I like it. The Lions. This will be fun.
This is a team with some real variance, I feel like.
Yes.
Yeah, I worry about replacing their center, right? Like you're replacing an all-world center.
And both coordinators.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, I think Ben Johnson's legit. But I don't know. They're talented, man. Their receiving group, Gibbs, if they can block up front, they're scary.
Yeah, I have this as a loss because I feel like the way the Lions went out in the playoffs last year, I feel like some of these regular season games are going to take on more meaning for them. So I think that the urgency for them might be there where it won't be for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you and I. Oh my God,
I gotta win.
All right, Bo will win. EJ and I.
This game was in Detroit. Maybe you could sell me, but yeah,
identical here.
Our only misses is I have them lose against Tampa. You have them lose against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're exactly the same. But Bo is caught up.
Yeah.
Right?
7-3, all of us, right?
Yeah, we're all 7-3 heading into Dallas. And I just go, they ain't winning, man. Like, I don't care what's what. That team's not beating the Eagles.
I'm going to give this one to Dallas.
Okay.
The Eagles don't play well down there.
Yeah, they don't. I was tempted, but I'm going with a win. I don't know. The Cowboys have some real catastrophe potential this year.
Yes.
Especially when we haven't really talked about the coaching staff change.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel good about it.
We'll get to Washington later, but I think Dallas is going to be the second best team in the division. So that's why I'm giving them the win here.
I could see it because I also am not buying Washington stock this year. But
I don't know, dude. I love the quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm a Daniels. I don't
It's
see
everything
any
except for the
regression
quarterback.
with Daniels. I just don't
No,
see
it's
it.
not about him. It's about he's playing with the old folks home.
Yes. Yeah, but you got McLaurin back in the fold. I think they're going to be good. I do. I don't see a big, I put it this way. I think that they are the second place team.
Okay.
I think there's a chance that the Giants could be in third place.
I don't think that's crazy.
Anything is in play for the Cowboys this year. And to the Commanders' point, like, I think if you're the Commanders, you have to hope that Jaden Daniels is good enough to help you tread water from last year, to knock out all the variants around him. And I think that that's in play. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
He is awesome.
Yeah.
I think Ben Johnson's going to be a good coach. I love how he's been playing Caleb.
Yeah.
Right? Like they signed Bajent and the story, all around him. And he's been effusive about Bajent because his whole season is about getting Caleb,
of course,
to get rid of the football. Right? That's going to be the whole thing. And I think he's going to want to be a good coach. But ain't no way they're coming in and beating the Eagles at the link.
Yeah. No, this is a win for him.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All right. W's across the board. And then we go to Los Angeles and the Chargers. And this is going to be an interesting game because it could be one of those sleepy, late year trips to LA.
Yeah.
And Harbaugh taking the air out of the ball and trying to
fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, like this could be a trouble spot.
I'm going Chargers here.
I'm really on the fence with this one. I think I'm going to go Chargers as well.
Chargers as well.
All
right. So you got a loss. And I have a win. Even though I set it up that way, I think it's going to be a close, ugly game that the Eagles, only because of this, because I do think the Chargers are still one-dimensional, offensively. I'm a Herbert fan. I know people hate him. I think he's legit. I still don't know if he's got enough weapons.
I agree with you. I think he's like a touch overrated. Just like
he's a traitsy guy, and depends on if that's your type of quarterback.
I know, but go win a playoff game, please. I know we
context
can't
matters.
just be about wins, but like you're the quarterback. Let's go.
Yeah, context matters. He is one of the worst supporting casts among that tier of quarterback.
So what?
I mean, that matters.
Excuses.
I'm a Herbert. I think he makes every throw. I think he's mobile. I think the dude's legit. I mean,
Yeah.
I do. I mean, he hasn't had.
I mean, the guy's
worst coach in the
guy's
NFL.
8 yards
That
downfield.
Brandon
You don't need to
Staley.
throw it
You're gonna lose
400
starting.
miles an hour.
Cuz and I have the same type of quarterback. We like the traits, guys.
Love it. I love.
Give me the
traits.
ceiling. Yeah. Yep.
Man. It's like, give me the arm.
Yep,
I'm in love with the
exactly.
arm.
Yep.
Yeah. Trying to make my son that.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
That'll get you paid. I mean,
Right?
Yeah. Right.
All right. So I have the win. You have the 2 L's. Raiders. I think we all agree
Yeah.
that the Raiders, Geno, and Pete Carroll. I mean,
Sure.
I don't.
They could be okay, but
Yeah.
they're not beat the Eagles at home. Okay.
All right. At Washington,
the Eagles home away from home.
right? and man, I don't know. I mean, there's something about that team that always, it's just how it goes, man. I don't see a sweep.
This is the classic December. Jalen has a bum shoulder.
Yes.
Tanner McKee goes into Washington, lights the
Yes.
world on fire, wins this game.
Oh,
absolutely.
I love it. What a storyline. I like that.
We're gonna have to clip this one.
I,
Too much time.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, calling it right now. 300 yards. The offense looks different. You know,
Under center, play action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to see more of it.
I don't know if we're gonna see it. Maybe with McKee under center.
Yeah. Please put Jalen under center a little bit, just a little
Yeah,
bit.
maybe with McKee. I got this one as a loss. I think they split with the Commanders, so I think got this one as a no.
Yeah, I got them sweeping the Giants. I got them sweeping the Cowboys.
Yep.
So I'll say that they're going to go 5-1 in the division. They
Yeah.
lose this one.
okay.
Then you're at Buffalo. I mean, I mean, that's just a nasty game.
Yeah,
Like,
you call this one a schedule loss, right? Like
Right,
you're going
like-
to Buffalo, and what's it?
What a
like
waste
December?
of the schedule, too.
Yeah.
Like,
It
put
is.
this game in early in the season.
Yeah.
Why in the world is this so
Week
late?
17.
Yeah.
Like
Swap that with the Giants
I
game.
talked about this before, right? They should swap one
Yeah,
of the Giants games
Absolutely.
with the Bills game.
Absolutely.
Like
That second Giants game right before the
like,
although I
it
guess
should
it's
be on
a
Sunday Night Football.
Oh, yeah,
Eagles
absolutely.
and Bills.
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah. I'll go
I
loss.
hate what the schedule did.
Yeah.
L,
Yeah.
L, and then we finish up Washington.
The Sam Howell revenge game.
Yes, WWW, right?
Yes.
We all won. All right, there it is. So you, Bo, have them at 12-5.
Okay. I feel good about that.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. You said they lost it.
Okay, 11 and
I
6.
would say
Yeah.
you seem more pessimistic than that.
So
11 and
Bo's
6.
11-6, and you, EJ, you got a lot of losses in the second
You're
half.
12
Yeah,
and 5.
I've got some
You're 12 and 5.
some stretches in the second half.
2-2, 3-3. You got them 4-5 in
Yeah.
the second half.
It's a tough schedule,
Yeah.
but they're still what 12-5 in mine.
Yeah.
No, 11-6.
No. Is that right?
Yeah. You have them 11-6 because he's got them 4-5
Okay.
in the back half.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. I mean, you have a loss against Green Bay, loss against Detroit, wins
Yeah.
against Cowboys and the Bears,
Yeah.
Yeah,
lost against the Chargers, beat the Raiders, lost Washington,
Yeah.
lost Buffalo, win Washington.
Yeah.
all right. So we ended up the same. Yeah,
11-6.
And then you've got them 12 and 5.
I got them 12-5. Yeah.
Julia, 17 and 0.
17-0, baby. Here you have it. All right. Expectations for the season. We expect them to win the NFC East. And at 12 wins or 11 in your case,
yeah.
where does that put them in the conference? Because I look around the conference, I still think that they are the elite of the conference.
I think so too. I guess I mean 11 and 6 is probably not good enough for the 1 seed. I don't know I don't know if I identify a team.
Who possibly could
Right.
go 12 or 13, right? In the West, I don't see the Rams being that team.
No, I mean,
especially the 49ers should be better this year.
Yeah,
Nah.
but the Niners have such an easy schedule.
Yeah, but they're not
It's
going to
the
go 12
easiest
wins.
schedule. in
Yeah, they're not
football.
going to win 13 or
They
14
got one
games.
receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got Pearsall. That's all they got. You can't.
Their
There's
schedule
no
is
way
so
that team
easy.
goes 12.
It's so easy.
So you think Niners? Because the North is a great division. They're going to beat each
they're
other
gonna
up.
beat each other up. Yeah.
And I don't see Atlanta or Tampa winning
No.
13 games.
No, I agree.
12 games.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm
somebody's
with
got to win 12 games in the conference.
Well, I say Birds. So
Yeah, that's
I
true.
had the
you. Yeah, I
12.
think we have them probably as the 2 seed there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. And then we're all about another great January, February, baby.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Real quick. Couple rapid fires and we'll wrap it up. Biggest year offensively for the Eagles.
Oh, it's AJ Brown for me. Yeah.
You said
Unless
the
you want a
year of A.J.
surprise.
Brown.
Yeah. Do you want to like a sleeper?
Give me a secret. Yeah. Sleeper.
I'm going to go Darius Cooper. I'm taking him. Listen, I wrote the feature on the guy. I can take Darius Cooper here.
Well,
I also, you know what? Here's what I think. If the Eagles' offense is as good as we think it's going to be, the national conversation on Jalen Hurts will change a little bit. You know, all summer was all about, you know, he's good, but he's not a elite quarterback.
Yeah.
I think if the Eagles are as good as we think they're going to be, he will be in the middle of the MVP conversation.
Okay.
Like that.
Defensively, who's the guy that has the big we're talking about?
Quinton Mitchell. Shutdown corner. I think the turnover production might. I think it should take an uptick just because of the variance there, but also it seems like something he's worked on all summer. He had a couple picks in training camp. I think Quinton will be in that discussion as the best corner in football.
For me, we sort of skipped over him, and he's been an afterthought all summer long.
Zack Baun.
Zack Baun.
Yeah.
Remember what it's like to watch Zack Baun play football? It's going to take, one series of week 1 to be like, oh, man, that guy is so awesome, and it's going to be like that all season long.
Yep.
I like it. I'm going to go Carter.
Yeah.
Because I just think he's the best. I think he's going to be the best defensive tackle in football, and unblockable and disruptive and all the above.
Yep.
So I'll go Carter. And last but not least, the Sirianni story. Because we have not talked about the head coach.
Yeah.
Coming into last year, he was all we were talking about. Had survived after much deliberation, whether they're going to bring him back. He was the story, right? The slow start, the bye week, they were this close to moving on. They might have even had conversations as to when they would move on. There was a little bit of a tumultuous ride post-bye, even in the wins.
Yeah.
It kept them alive, and then it was off to the races. So what's the Nick story? Bo, I'll start with you. What's the Sirianni story that we're talking about this year?
I'm trying to think about what hair decision he could make that would make us laugh. Like, does he go mullet because no one's paying enough attention to him? But I think he would like to recede into the background a little bit and not be the story. But I also don't think that on game day he is capable of doing that. Like, he's just so invested. I think the story with Nick is it sort of depends on how the offense goes, because we know that he cares a lot about Kevin Patullo. And if the offense is not delivering, does he then start to get more involved and he can't help himself? And if the offense is as good as it should be, then I kind of do think that it will be kind of a quiet Sirianni season.
I think that the way the season goes is so important. Not obviously for every coach, it's important, but I think Nick is very uniquely situated where he is the perfect coach for a team that's doing really well. I think we've seen that over the last few years, that when a team is winning, when a team is in a successful position, he's really good at keeping things on track. He's really good at still harping on the details and staying on guys and preaching that togetherness. And I think that the repetition in his messaging is probably good in those instances. I think it's not so good when things are rocky. And I think that I had them starting the season well, so I think that he probably would recede into the background if that's the case. If things are shaky, that's where I think you've seen him struggle at times. You've seen the team struggle at times to kind of get out of those ruts. So I think the script of the season is going to be really important. But because I have them doing so well, I think you're right. I think he's going to kind of fade into the background a little bit.
Yeah, and you have him 4 and 5 in the second half. Does he get a little antsy?
Yeah, I think the playoffs will be big. Yeah.
All right, I'll say that Big Dom keeps him in check. All right.
Yeah.
That's his job.
My boy will keep him.
Yeah.
In line.
Got the headset again. Yeah.
I like it. This is fun.
We're
going to do this a lot. as the season unfolds. Another story, another Eagles season.
Here we go.
It's right here. Cannot wait. Let's go. Go Birds. Thanks for hanging with us